I just haven't been talking to you about what I should have been talking to you about.
Pete.
Wait, let me start again.
I got this. All of it. Go be Peter Parker for a while.
Are you sure? It's a big city.
I can handle it.
What is up, webheads? Welcome back to another very interesting Marvel Spider-Man 2 and 3 related video. Marvel Spider-Man 2 has been out for a couple weeks now, and we're still continuing to learn more and more about the game as a whole, the decisions that went into making the game, and even what the future holds for the franchise. Ben Arfman, who's the narrative director at Insomniac Games, and Brittany Morris, who's an advanced writer at Insomniac, sat down with Gizmodo to break down the game's biggest spoilers. This whole interview is chock full of some pretty insane and interesting details, but the main narrative I really want to touch upon in the course of this video is how Morris and Arfman pretty much confirmed that Miles Morales is going to be the quote-unquote main Spider-Man moving forward in the Insomniac universe. Gizmodo asked the both of them, saying, "You said earlier you basically knew right away that you wanted a playable Venom. Does that also apply to the ending of this game with Miles as the main Spider-Man from now on?" Morris was the first to respond by saying, "It always felt very natural, and I think we all collectively thought that would happen. To me, it shows a great deal of evolution from Miles. At the beginning of the game, we see him struggling to figure out what he wants to do with his life. By the end, we had Miles carrying the burden of saving the city, and also carrying Pete when Pete wasn't strong enough to carry himself at various points. And that's what's been so cool about writing a story with two Spider-Men. They're both strong, and when one of them can be strong when the other is not, by the end, Miles is more confident and he's like, yeah, I got this. How much worse can things get after what we just went through?" Arfman also chimed in on this question by saying, "To echo what Brittany just said, the idea of a two Spider-Man story was really essential to this game. I think pretty early on, we knew that we wanted to have that moment of handing the reins over. And as we developed it, as we started to lay down more track leading up to that moment, it just felt more and more right. I think it was John who wrote that scene in Aunt May's garage, and it's one of my favorite scenes. The way that Miles intuits exactly what Peter is thinking and stops him from stumbling through trying to hand over the mask. Miles going, "You know, I got this, bro." It's such a great moment between the two of them, and it felt like such a natural conclusion. I'm not sure when specifically we decided to do that, but it always felt like the only way the game could end. Now, I know this creative decision has really been stirring up a lot of controversy in the whole fandom. A lot of people are not particularly happy that Miles is going to be the lead and apparent solo Spider-Man moving forward in this whole universe, and I do wholeheartedly agree that it's definitely a tough pill to swallow. For me, Peter Parker has always been my definitive and favorite Spider-Man, and the iteration of Peter Parker that Insomniac has created has easily become my favorite interpretation of the character. And I'm certainly not going to lie to you in saying that it's definitely going to be an adjustment for me, especially. With the way that the story has gone, it's certainly been set up that this was bound to happen at some point. I even made a tweet on X recently, just voicing my opinion that I'm certainly not mad about this whole creative decision at all. I actually welcome the confirmation for it, as long as the door is always open for Peter Parker to return/be around. In this universe, Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for just under 10 years. He does deserve a little bit of that break. He's definitely not done being Spider-Man, but he's letting Miles take the lead from now on, at least for the time being. Never did they really say that Peter Parker is officially done as the webhead. That's not going to happen, I don't think. He still has that sense of responsibility of being Spider-Man, but he definitely feels that Miles is ready to take up the mantle as leading the city. And especially with the villains like Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Carnage, and the Chameleon being heavily teased to return at some point, potentially in the next game, we all know that Miles is definitely going to be needing some sort of backup. What I also think Insomniac is establishing is that the whole purpose of having two current Spider-Men for the city is that they both can lean on each other when they need each other the most. Peter needs Miles more than ever right now to look after the city while he gets his life in order. Peter needs this break to get himself established with the Emily May Foundation now that Harry's on sabbatical, and I'm sure when Miles eventually needs a break of his own that Peter's going to be there for him for that. Insomniac has also set up Cindy Moon to come in eventually as Silk, and with her introduction coming from the Morales household, that perfectly sets up Miles to become a mentor of his own. We've had Peter Parker be the standalone definitive Spider-Man for almost 60 years. I know we've had different variations like Miguel O'Hara, Ben Reilly, Gwen Stacy, and even Superior Spider-Man having different true identities for the webhead. And for a vast majority of the Spider-Man fandom, Peter Parker is most people's definitive Spider-Man. But the whole purpose of the character is that anyone can wear the mask. It's not just Peter Parker, it's Miles Morales, it's Gwen Stacy, it's Miguel O'Hara. It's so many different people. It's not just one person that can don the mask as Spider-Man. Miles Morales is just as much a Spider-Man as Peter Parker, as Gwen Stacy, and Miguel. Basically, for me, as long as Peter Parker isn't gone fully and that he doesn't just give up Spider-Man 100%, then I'm fully on board with this change. With Insomniac setting up some of Peter's biggest villains for the next game, he's definitely going to be back and giving the ultimate performance. But for now, Miles Morales is our guy, and that's a damn good choice to lead the city while Peter Parker's taking his break. But guys, I want to hear what you all have to say. Are you disappointed that Miles Morales is now going to be the main Spider-Man in the Insomniac universe? Or are you someone like me who welcomes the decision as long as Peter Parker isn't cut out of the picture completely? Definitely let me know. Make sure to leave a like on this video so it can get pushed out to more and more people throughout the Insomniac Spider-Man community, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're a big fan of Spider-Man, especially when it comes to Marvel Spider-Man 2. Thank you all so much for watching. See ya, chumps.
See you, chump.